Welcome back to the day. Today we're diving deep into the escalating drama surrounding Rafe Hernandez and his risky partnership with Kat Green. Could this lead to another heart-stopping coma twist? In the latest twists from Salem's chaotic world, Rafe Hernandez, played by the ever-charismatic Galen Gehring, seems to be walking straight into a storm of peril. Fans are buzzing after a recent episode where Rafe steps up to teach Kat Green, portrayed by Annalyn McCord, some essential self-defense moves. This isn't just a casual training session, it's loaded with tension and foreshadowing. Imagine Rafe, the seasoned cop with a heart of gold, guiding Kat through punches and dodges in a dimly lit gym, sweat glistening under the fluorescent lights, as they bond over her quick reflexes. But here's where it gets intriguing. Rafe's words hang like a dark cloud, hinting at bigger troubles ahead. Kat, who's not exactly cut out for high-stakes fieldwork according to her boss Shane Donovan, Charles Shaughnessy, insists on being ready for anything. She's no rookie. Her background as an ISA analyst who once infiltrated Clyde Weston's dangerous drug ring adds layers to her character. Remember, that operation cost her dearly. Her father was killed, her mother kidnapped and brainwashed, forcing Kat into facial reconstruction and a life on the run. In this scene, she picks up the techniques faster than expected, impressing Rafe with her agility and determination. He chuckles, suggesting a couple more sessions to polish her skills against real villains, perhaps even role-playing scenarios involving shadowy figures from her past. Yet, it's Rafe's solemn vow that amps up the suspense. He promises to shield her with his very life as long as they're partners. In the soap opera playbook, declarations like that are never idle, they're setups for catastrophe. This promise isn't just romantic fluff, it's a ticking time bomb. Soap writers love to dangle such heroic oaths, only to flip them into life-or-death scenarios. Picture this: Rafe, with his history of brushes with mortality, charging into an ambush to save Kat from an unexpected threat, maybe tied to her old enemies or a new Salem villain. There's no sign he'll meet a permanent end. Galen Gehring's character is too beloved for that, but the fallout could be severe. What if he's left clinging to life, mistaken for dead in a fiery explosion or a brutal attack, sending shockwaves through his family and friends? Or, echoing last year's nightmare, he slips back into a coma, his body battered but his spirit fighting. Connie Viniski, Julie Dove, that unhinged schemer who stabbed him before, might not be involved this time, but the pattern feels eerily familiar. Invent a new angle. Perhaps a mysterious assailant, linked to Kat's ISA days, targets them during a stakeout, forcing Rafe to take a bullet meant for her. Delving deeper, this coma possibility isn't mere speculation, it's rooted in the show's history of recycling high-drama tropes. Last year, Connie's vicious attack on Rafe, driven by her secrets around Li Shin's murder, left him in a deep sleep for months, with loved ones like Gabby Hernandez de Mera, Sherry Jimenez, at his bedside, whispering pleas for recovery. If it happens again, Kat could be torn apart by gratitude and guilt, blaming herself for dragging him into her web of dangers. Add a fresh twist: while comatose, Rafe might overhear incriminating conversations, like Connie's past confessions, piecing together unsolved mysteries upon waking. This could reignite old feuds, perhaps even pulling in E.J. de Mera, Dan Feuerriegel, or other de Mera family ties, complicating Salem's power struggles. But let's not overlook the romantic sparks flying amid the chaos. That protective vow might be the writer's way of igniting chemistry between Rafe and Kat. Envision a heated moment where danger peaks, Rafe swoops in, disarms a foe, and in the adrenaline rush, Kat pulls him into a passionate kiss, their partnership evolving into something steamy. Their dynamic, built on trust and shared secrets, contrasts with Rafe's past relationships, like his rocky romance with Jada Hunter, Elia Cantu, which faced strains from work demotions and near-death scares. Here, with Kat, it's a fresh canvas. Her spy history meshes with his cop instincts, creating electric tension. Yet, the real hook is how this heroism puts Rafe squarely in harm's way, setting up cliffhangers that keep us glued to our screens. Shifting gears to this week's developments, the intrigue thickens with Chad D. Mara, Billy Flynn, grilling Kat about her so-called profession. Kat, ever the quick thinker, spins a web of lies to throw him off, perhaps claiming she's just a concerned friend delivering soup to a colleague. But Chad's no fool, his suspicions simmer, especially after her, James, explanation for the odd delivery. She later updates Rafe on this encounter, filling him in on the details over coffee, their conversation laced with unspoken worries. Will Chad buy her story, or will his digging unearth more about Kat's deceptive past, like her fake Abigail persona that once fooled everyone? And here's the burning question, could Chad get dragged into the same tragic fate as Rafe? With Kat's connections to explosive secrets, think her ISA missions and ties to the D. Mara Empire, Chad's probing might lead him into a deadly trap. Imagine Chad confronting her, only to stumble upon a larger conspiracy involving Clyde Weston or a revived Stefano-like figure, putting him in the crosshairs. If Rafe's already teetering on the edge of another coma, Chad's involvement could mirror that peril, heightening the stakes for the entire town. Days of Our Lives spoilers tease mounting dangers for Rafe and Kat, with alliances tested and lives hanging in the balance. Stay tuned, Salem fans, this partnership could explode in ways we never saw coming. Full recap Friday, August 22, 2025, a shocking courtroom twist, Kristen's confession turns Salem upside down. The long-running drama in Salem reached another boiling point today on Days of Our Lives. Just when it seemed like the jury was about to deliver its verdict against Johnny, Kristen stormed into the courtroom and changed everything. Her shocking confession left jaws on the floor, while Brady uncovered new doubts about Sarah's secrets. For long-time viewers, this episode was not just dramatic, it was a turning point in the tangled fates of Salem's most troubled families. The calm before the storm. The day began with an uneasy quiet. Kristen, known for her unpredictable nature, looked out the window with heavy emotion as she spotted Brady and their daughter Rachel sitting with Sarah at the local pub. The scene was almost peaceful, Rachel laughing and Brady smiling, but underneath it all, tension simmered. Brady used the quiet moment to press Sarah for answers. He asked why she reacted so strangely when she first learned that Sophia's baby was a girl. Sarah froze, just as she did back then. Brady could tell she was hiding something. With firm persistence, he asked again, "What aren't you telling me?" Sarah, however, fell back on the law. She reminded Brady about HIPAA regulations, rules that prevent doctors from sharing confidential medical information. But to Brady, that excuse was as good as a confession. If Sarah couldn't tell him outright, it meant she knew something important, and she was deliberately keeping it from him. Before Brady could push further, Sean, fresh back from visiting his daughter Claire in South Africa, arrived with news: the jury had reached its verdict. Rachel lit up, rushing into Sean's arms as he showed her photos of baboons he had seen abroad. For a fleeting moment, joy returned, but the shadow of the courtroom loomed over them all. Trouble at the courthouse. Meanwhile, at the courthouse, EJ was growing increasingly nervous. He whispered urgently to Marlena that Kristen still had not arrived. EJ feared the worst. Without Kristen's intervention, his only remaining option would be to tell the judge the truth, that Rachel was the one who shot him. EJ dreaded the idea. Not only would it shatter Rachel's life, but it would also destroy the little girl's trust forever. When the trial resumed, Judge Dabney prepared to read the verdict. Leo, chest puffed out and brimming with anticipation, stepped forward to deliver the jury's decision. But EJ couldn't contain himself. He interrupted, earning a sharp rebuke from the judge. It was a tense moment, but then Kristen burst through the doors. The room fell silent. Kristen's voice rang out. "I'm here to confess. I'm the one who shot my brother." Gasps filled the courtroom. Marlena's face drained of color. Belle looked stunned. Even Leo, usually so full of bravado, was left speechless. Judge Dabney, struggling to regain order, called a recess and immediately ordered Kristen's arrest. A desperate story. In the judge's chambers, Kristen spun her tale. She told the judge and Belle that she had lost control. She claimed EJ had refused to tell her where her mother was. In a fit of anger, she grabbed the gun from the table. A struggle followed, and the weapon fired. According to Kristen, the shooting was not intentional, but in her panic she wiped her fingerprints off the gun and hid it. She admitted she should have called for help, but she was too overwhelmed with shock. The judge was unmoved. He called Sean, who placed handcuffs on Kristen for attempted murder. As she was let out, Kristen locked eyes with EJ, one last, wordless plea for understanding. Johnny freed. Back in the courtroom, the case against Johnny collapsed. The charges were dismissed, and at last, Johnny was free. Chanel rushed to his side, and the two shared a tender moment. EJ tried to congratulate his son, but Johnny, still bitter, refused. Instead, he walked away with Chanel and the rest of the family, leaving EJ standing alone. Belle lingered just long enough to tell EJ she was happy for Johnny but saddened that events unfolded this way. EJ's response was somber, more than you can imagine. Kristen's sacrifice. At the pub, Rachel worried aloud, wondering how much longer they would have to wait for word on Johnny. She whispered a prayer that he wouldn't be sent to prison. Just then, Belle arrived with the good news. But she also pulled Brady aside to tell him something more. Kristen had confessed. Elsewhere, in the newly designed interrogation room, Marlena confronted Kristen. With Sean gone, Marlena leaned across the table, her voice heavy with both anger and compassion. "You can't do this, Kristen," she said firmly. But Kristen held her ground. In her eyes, this was the only way to protect both Rachel and Johnny. Marlena argued that Rachel needed her mother, not her sacrifice. Yet Kristen refused to back down. Tears filled Kristen's eyes as she admitted she knew Brady would hate her, Rachel would be confused, and everyone else would judge her harshly. But for her, this was the price of love. By taking the blame, she could shield her daughter and her nephew from unbearable consequences. For once, Marlena was moved. She saw not the manipulative schemer Kristen often was, but a mother making the ultimate sacrifice. Closing thoughts. Today's episode reminded longtime fans why Days of Our Lives has endured for decades. It wasn't just the shocking twist of Kristen's confession, or the legal drama that kept viewers on edge. It was the deeper themes, sacrifice, family loyalty, and the heavy cost of protecting the people we love. Kristen may now face years behind bars, but in her heart, she believes she has done the right thing. EJ must live with the weight of her lie. Johnny is free, but torn from his father. And Rachel, innocent yet entangled in her family's dark web, may one day learn the truth. The story is far from over, but for now, Salem will never be the same.